Hi, my name is Claudia Quintanilla. I'm a knitwear designer based in Toronto, and today I want to talk to you about something long overdue, and it's how to embroider in your knitting. But basically today is my number one video in this topic. In this one, I'm going to show you the basic things that you need for embroidery. Well, some of them they're not too basic, but I don't know if you follow me before or no, but if you remember, I did two books with Lane Magazine. One is called Memory Lane and another one is called Making Memories. And two of these books show a lot of embroidery. So this video is long overdue, and please stay here to the end because in the end I'm going to be telling you how to win these two books and a little kit of how that will help you to start to embroider in your knitting. Number one, you're gonna need a hoop to embroider. Your hoop can be plastic, can be bamboo, can be made in wood. My preference is to have a wood one, and my preference is that it's a little thicker than these ones. I don't have any here right now because they're all in use, but if you can get something that is like 3/4 of an inch, that would be a little bit more sturdy for your embroidery. The number two thing that I'm going to mention here right now is you're going to need a measurement tape, and my preference is actually to use a transparent ruler because that gives me a better view of what I'm doing. Number three, you're gonna need scissors. One scissors that are good for paper and for anything else that you wanna use, and special scissors that you're just going to use for cutting threads. If you start to use your little scissors for everything, what is going to happen is that they're not going to be sharp anymore, and it's gonna be very difficult to do this process of cutting little threads easily. So I haven't started these things by the ones you require the most. I start by the ones that were easy to explain because somehow I want to clean up the table a little bit to be able to show you the most important ones. So we're not going in order of importance, we're just going in the order that is going to empty me the table a little bit faster. Number four, we're going to talk about needles, and for that we're going to get the camera closer then you can see the name of the needles, and I can give you a little explanation why you need so many different needles. I tend to keep my needles here, but I went and I bought these ones to be able to show you which kind of needles are better on the package, because that way it's easy for me to explain it to you why you need it and where to buy it and the name. So you need these chenille needles, and it's the one that you're going to be using the most. And I really like this brand. I think it's called Prim. The opening is really big in the top, the eye is really big, allows you thread to go through easily. It's really pointy, and you want to be able to go across your knitting, not just in the holes of your knitting, but across your knitting. And it's really important that you have little pointy needle that is sharp. So chenille is really good for that. Then you can use as a Chico long needle, can be very useful if you want to take a lot of stitches in the same time. Then, if you're going to be doing beads, you need to find small little needles for beading. Because what happens with the beading needle is that this really small in the top, and it can get across any beads really easy. Then another needles that you can use is just like regular embroidery needles, and I actually like to have these craft needles because they're a bit bigger and they give me a good variety of different holes on it, and they come in these different numbers, and sometimes you need to do just like a little detail on your knitting. And these ones that will be helpful because these ones they come with a diverse number of needles, and some of them there will be short and some of them there will be pointy, and these ones they're very good for the end for little details. But it's another special needle that I would like to show you here, and it's this needle. I don't know if they have a special name, but I know that they're called tapestry needles, but the special thing about this needle is that this part is soft, so it's allowed you to accumulate more yarn on it. And this is a very important detail. If the yarn that you're gonna put through the little hole of the needle, through the little eye of the needle, is too thick, it's going to get ruined by the rubbing of the thread inside the needle. So this is a very good needle. I think Knitting Price sell them too, and I bought these ones in Amazon. And you can get like regular tapestry needles for some things, and I like these ones because they're really pointy. This one I just got it and you need, and I think they come from Japan, but I don't know the specific name. So these two needles that would be very, very helpful if you're going to use a thicker yarn. And this one is going to be very good if you're just doing double stitch. Number 5, you're gonna need a pen and a sharpener for your pen. Please use a pen, don't use a pillow, don't use a marker that is red or like green, because you run the chance that it's going to bleed in your knitting. And that have happened to me with the butterfly design that I make for my book with Lane magazine. It bleed and we have to repeat the whole work again. So pen is better, and you need a little sharper if you're going to use like a regular pen. Number 6, you're going to need a dissolvable stabilizer. And I have here some that I really like, and what this is where you're going to draw your design. You're gonna draw it in here, and then you're going to place it on your knitting with the design, and then you're going to embroider in the top of this. This is going to make way easy to get your design embroidered in your knitting. And when you finish, you just have to put it in water, and this is going to be dissolvable. It's going to disappear like magic. Number 7, and I know that this doesn't have any logic, but I'm leaving the most complicated to the end. Number 7 is your fabric, the fabric that you're gonna need for embroidery. And there is really important what you're going to choose for yarn. In my experience, the easy yarns to learn to embroider on is yarns that haven't been treated with any softeners. So no, merino wool is not good, things that are very slippery are no good, alpaca is not the best. That doesn't mean that you cannot do it, but it's require more skill. So if it's your first time embroidering and you're knitting, I highly recommend you to go and choose a yarn that is more natural, than have no too much process. Cascade 220 that is not super wash would be good. So basically, don't choose a yarn that is super wash. In any case, in these little videos, I'm going to try to show you different ways to embroider in different types of fabrics. In one video, I want to show you how you can embroider actually in mohair, what is not really difficult, but it is possible. So, and another thing that I want to tell you is that if you don't want to need a whole sweater to embroider, you can always visit a place where they sell used stuff. You can thrift this sweater, or you can have maybe a sweater that you don't like anymore and you want to renew that sweater, you want to give a new life to this sweater, and then you can go ahead and embroider it. This one is one of my sweaters and it shrink a lot, and I think some possibility to do something with this fabric. I think I can make like a little pillow and embroider like some beautiful flowers here. That way this doesn't get waste, and that way you don't have to go and knit a whole project because you want to try embroidery and knits. Another thing that I think is really fantastic for this, and I'm no expert at this at any form or way, I haven't never done it, is like mending it. Like, for example, these little warmers that I have here, they're very nice and they're cashmere, and I have a friend who really mend things, and he probably would mend this really beautiful and perfect, but I am no I don't know how to do that really perfect. So what I could do, I could probably embroider something really cute in here, and that way I can continue to wear my hand warmers. And that's another fabric that you can use to do beautiful embroidery in knits. Number 8, and I left this one almost in the end because it's the one that I like the most. And so I don't know, let's see how I start here. I'm going to start with the ones that they're my favorite ones, and I think they're the most appropriate to embroidery knitting. My favorite one is actually Appleton, and it's made in England, and it's hand-dyed yarn, and it's like a fingering yarn that is come in hundreds of colors, and it's really easy to handle in your embroidery. And it makes wonderful things, and the nice and fantastic things is that you can order little bags where they can give you like all the blues, all the pinks, all the reds, and that make my heart really happy when I see it. So Appleton, I highly recommend it for you, especially if you are a beginner. Then I'm going to move to another brand. This one is from France, and you're going to forgive me because I don't know how to pronounce this at all. And it's this, hold on one second. Let me see how I can pronounce it. Sahon. Sahon? I don't know. But here, if you get closer, you can probably see the name in here. And I'm going to type it up in here too for you to see. So this is another super good brand. This is a blend of wool, and it's a little bit of wool with polyamide, but it's work fantastically in your embroidery. And they have a lot of beautiful colors, and if you like, you can order the whole box, and the whole box is gonna give you a little taste of all their colors. The difference between Appleton and this another embroidery thread is that Appleton is just one thread. So if you want to use 2 threads to make it thicker, you can use 2 threads to make it thicker. In the case of these ones, you can divide it and you can get different numbers of threads. So you can do it thinner or you can do it thicker, and we have 4 threads in one of the little cartons of yarn, and I think this one I have like 25 yards or 25 meters on it, but I'm not 100% sure because they're not saying it anywhere in here. These ones I know that is for sure 25 meters, the one from England, Appleton. I almost sure that this one would be 25 meters too, but I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. So this would be, in my opinion, the easy ones to handle if you are new embroiderer and you're knitting. Then it's another ones that you can use like cotton, like DNC. DNC have some wool, but I don't have here to show it to you. But here is the regular cotton. Then if you're going to embroider something in cotton, it's probably easy to use this one too. And here I have a mix of Cosmo and a mix of DNC. I absolutely love to mix them because the colors are so different. Cosmo is a little bit more shimmer, so if you want to fake something like to be silk, it's going to be way shimmer. DNC is less shimmer, but what I like about the DNC and the Cosmo is that they help me a lot to finish details when I cannot find the color in here. So they're good to have, especially if you want to do children stuff or if you're going to be using cotton and you want to embroider in cotton. And that's another thing that I would like to say to you right now. Depending of the fabric that you're going to be embroidered, that is the type of the quantity of wool that you want to put in your needle to do your embroidery. If your fabric is being knitted with a fingering, you're going to use a fingering to embroider it. You don't going to use anything thicker because it's going to become too heavy in your fabric. So anyways, going back to DNC and Cosmo, it's fantastic if you need a lot of colors and if you're going to be working with cotton. And I want to show you the way I like to keep the threads when I already use them. I like to keep them in this way because that way they're more organized. The only problem is that in this little chain that I made here, I didn't leave the numbers. So that is the only problem. You can probably take a note, but I like to do this because when I need to get sewn DNC, I just go like that and it come out really easy. And with the wool, I couldn't do that because it would be a little bit more sticky. And remember that when you want to separate your threads, remember that you have to keep them straight, and that way it's easy to separate them in case you want to use just one thread or two threads or four threads. I don't know. This one comes with 6 threads on it. So now I'm going to move to another cottons that I actually really like, and these ones that come from Japan, and they're from a company called Temalicious, but the company now have another name, and I don't have the name here. I'm gonna leave it in the notes. This is a hand-dyed cotton that do beautiful in embroidery in your knits. I have done it a lot with the baby stuff in my book, Making Memories, and it looked like it became a part of the knit because it looks so flat and beautiful. Then I really like this. If you like this to be thinner, they have it in this way in like little boxes, and here is thinner. If you need to do something in your lace, for example, this would be fantastic because it's really thin. In these things, you have to pay a little bit attention because these guys, they're hand-dyed with plants. So if you're into that organic things, this is beautiful because it doesn't gonna damage the planet. But in the same time, you have to remember that the color is gonna wash with time. What I don't think is that problematic because white embroidery is beautiful. And if it doesn't receive so much sun or it's not washed with heavy detergents, it will keep the color for really long time. So now I want to move to number 9, and I want to leave number 9 in terms of threads too. It's going to be number 9, and in number 9 I'm going to talk about decorating more your embroidery with metallic threads or with beads. I'm leaving number 10 for the end. Please don't miss number 10 because it's the most important of all. But this is number 9, and we're talking about different type of threads. These threads, they can be used in small quantities. They can be used in big quantities, like I'm gonna show you in my book, but they're more difficult to deal with it. So if you are an expert embroiderer and you're knitting, you don't want to do everything with metallic threads. So I have different brands, and I want to show you the brands that I like the most in metallic threads. I absolutely like Cosmo because it's very soft and nice, and it's very easy to embroider with. It's very malleable, and they have beautiful colors. When I do metallic, I tend to go with the gold, the whites, the silver, but they do have it in different colors. They have red, pink, yellow, whatever you want, they have it. The ones that you see here is the ones that I already have used in the past, so they're not new, and they're most of the colors that I actually like the most. But again, it's a lot of colors there. It's another brands than do metallic, and they're interesting. They're not my favorite ones, but they're somehow interesting. Here is Wonderful. It's not my favorite one, but I like it for a reason. I like it because it's very thin, and Cosmo is not thin. And what happens is that if you need a thread that is thinner, you have to go and undo it, and then you can cut it and you can get different threads from there. So you can get like 4 different small threads. But in Wonderful, they already come so thin that it's great if you want to embroider little metallic beads in your knitting. If you want that shimmer, it would look really nice if your bead is transparent and then you put a metallic there. You get like a little shimmer that is very beautiful. So this is Wonderfills, and they have wonderful colors. Then I don't have here the DMC. Oh yeah, I have a DNC here. Here is DNC. And I have to be very honest with you. I have this DNC here because I bought it when I was doing my book for Lane Magazine, but I never really used it. So I noticed that the colors are beautiful, but I don't have any experience of how this would work. I have 2 metallics here from Ito. And I really like these metallic ones too because they're really thin. If you want to embroider something thicker, you're probably going to have to do a couple of layers, 2 or 3 threads, because it's very thin, but again, it's very beautiful for small details, and it's very soft, and it's an excellent quality. And now that I'm talking about Ito, I'm going to move to the silks. And I don't have that many silks in here. I'm gonna show you the ones I have and the ones that I use the most. I use Ito, and they come within the same line of the metallics. And here is the name. And they have a lot of beautiful colors. And I tend to use a lot of silk in my embroidery just to give a little shimmer in a part of my embroidery. I don't tend to do the whole embroidery in silk, but sometimes I go and I combine a little bit of silk with a little bit of wool and a little piece or in a little detail of my embroidery. So this is the silks, and I have another companies here that I really like, and I'm sorry, this one I don't have that many colors because I'm embroidering something right now that is going to be beautiful, but I took my best colors. This is done in Canada, and the name is Baldani. I have the name in here, and it's absolutely beautiful, and it's hand dyed. Why this thread is so beautiful? It's beautiful because it's going to come different in different colors in the same thread, and if you're embroidering a tree or a leaf, it's going to have different tones of green. For example, if you're embroidering a flower, you don't need to go and get more colors, you just need one, and it's going to have different colors in different parts of the flower. You do have to take in account that it's going to be a bit patchy if you don't cut it exactly where you find one of the colors that they're going the whole thread. So that's something to take into account. So we're still at number 9, and I am sorry that I incorporating this to number 9, but this is like kind of decoration for me, and I want to leave number 10 alone because I want to talk about something very important. So I really like to use beads and crystals in my embroidery, and I have here some crystals that I really like, and you can see them here. I like to use a bit of little pearls too. I like to have a lot of different colors, and I just go there and I choose them as I go. But another thing that I like a lot is the beads. I like size number 11 for my embroidery, but I know that a lot of people like in their knitting number 6 or number 8. I like them to be really tiny. I think that they look cuter, but I have some examples here of different beads. My favorite ones are the Yumiki, and I don't remember the ones that I use the most is the Yumiki 6. I really like that ones. I think they're very perfectly round, and I like the quality. Now, in terms of crystals, I own you the name. I'm going to leave it in here or put it in here, the name. Cherish used to make crystals for your embroidery, but they're not making them anymore, so I have to find another Czechoslovakian brand that actually make crystals. So, and that is all you need for your embroidery. I think I told you a little bit more than what you actually need to get your embroidery done, because to actually really embroider, you just need the thread, the fabric, the scissors, and the hoop. And not even the hoop if you want to do it without, if you don't want to do it with a hoop. But I want to talk about one that you are absolutely need for embroidery. And it's maybe not necessarily the one that you want to start with it, but for me, it's the most important one. And it's number 10. And number 10 is creativity. And I want to tell you that the source of creativity doesn't exist within inside you, it's all around you. And it's for you to take it. You can be inspired in movies, in nature, in old books, in prints, in different fabrics, in colors that you really like, maybe even in your memories. So don't forget that number 10 is the one that moves everything, and it's your creativity. How you going to mix this together, how you going to use the colors, how it's going to feel is coming out from your creativity. We almost at the end here, and I want to tell you how you're going to do to be part of the rifa of the 2 books and the little kit for embroidery. Please leave a comment, follow me, and you can win this beautiful kit. Please don't forget to leave me a comment, and I want to finalize this video by showing you one of my embroideries that is one of my favorite embroideries, and is this butterfly sweater that I did in 2024. And it was done all with metallic and with beads, and they were really tiny, made with gold. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.